And there were demos that were never finished. And then we cut new pieces on, we cut new sections into the middle of. It was on 2 different tape machines with 2 different head stacks at 2 different speeds. I mean, and Pro Tools nowhere in sight. So it was technically very, very complicated. And, but that's part of the genius, I think, is that, one of Jack's big hits was this Little Willie John, I'm shaking. That is 1 take from the floor. It's 5 tracks. It's 5 tracks total.
Shit.
And it's 5 tracks, and then he doubled the guitar. So, okay, that was 6. It was drums, 1 track, bass, 1 track, guitar, 1 track, vocal, 1 track, double guitar, 2nd track, 5, right? Then we had 2 girls. We had the 2 girls sing on Ruby, and I think Karen sang on it. And we put shakers where we had to like goat toe shakers or shakers, some sort of shaker, because we had to make some tape edits to make a solo section. So we used the take before, cut it into the master take, like the time when they were just messing around, and then he played solo over that on the vocal tracks. And so it's like the solos here, then the vocals, and then there's these shakers, and the shakers are covering up the tape edits.
Jeez. Wow, that is wild.
And it's a live performance, live vocal, it's drums, and he's singing into a microphone, into an amp, and I just happened to mic the amplifier. The amp was there to tell the band members what chords to play.
Oh my gosh.
But
it's all about in the moment capturing the magic.
And the piano player hadn't showed up yet, so he just started jamming, and they just started jamming that, and they played it 3 times total in the second take, or that third take. No, 3 times total. Second take is the master, and then the first take, the second verse is the solo cut into the second take.
It's kind of like, this is like Beatles kind of stories, with like John Lennon just like cutting tape and doing random shit.
Yep. Well, that's how records were made.
Yeah, totally. I'd like to ask you about Jack's guitar tones. Obviously he's like a master of the guitar tone.
Easiest guitar sound by any artist I've ever got, ever. It doesn't matter what he plays. Doesn't matter what guitar he plays. It doesn't matter what amp he's playing. It doesn't matter. It always sounds like Jack White.
Like, do you talk to him about, the tones at all? It's just capture it and be done. Well,
it just happens. It just happens. I mean, I did the same thing for him on every record. I would usually do a U67, just a U67 on the amp, and maybe a 57, which I do a lot, two of them. I either blend them together, or make them like a faux stereo track. And 67, 1073 tape, done.
Brilliant. What's going on in the what's the track? Many Shades of Black. There's like a phantom guitar solo happening there. What is
that? That's probably something that they did when they were tracking, because it was tracked live and they were all in the same room. That's probably what it is. I don't remember, but
I don't know. Yeah, it's like slightly delayed, but it like sounds exactly the same, but like in a completely weird, cool tone. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's a neat little.
It's probably coming through
trick.
The drums. Yeah, wasn't a trick. It's probably. They set the drums up in the middle of the room, and Brendan's amps were on one side of the guitar of the drums, and Jack's were on the other side. Mm-hmm. So it's just. I remember actually I mixed a track, probably Salute Your Solutions, Salute Your Solution from for Guitar Hero. I did a remix of it. And one of the guys wrote me and he said, this guitar stem, you've recorded it incorrectly. It's got the drums in it. And I go, yep, it does. Because the drums are right next to him. And he's like, well, can't you just turn those off? I'm like, no, they were right next to him when he played it. And the guy, like, he couldn't even get his head around that. Like, what do you mean? Yeah,
it's a completely different era or mindset of what do you mean?
Is. He was next to the drums. Like, his amp was next to the drums. So when he's not playing, there's drums in it. Just cut it out, But
Are you
that
a big
didn't work with
proponent-
their, the ped, what I
Right.
mean.
Yeah, they want to show the kids how to play the guitar.
Yeah, exactly. On the squares.
Yeah, how to fake play guitar.
Did you ever see the South Park episode, the Guitar Hero South Park episode?
No.
Oh yeah,
I have not.
it's brilliant. Like Stan and Kyle, like Stan, they're playing Carry On My Wayward Son, and then this record exec guy comes and he gives them a record deal. But of course, it's for Guitar Hero, which doesn't make any sense. And then they fire Kyle, if I remember right, and they get this guy, and he's addicted to Heroin Hero. So his deal is he just chases the dragon all the time, and it's just so messed up and fantastic.
Wow, I haven't seen South Park in like probably 15 years.
Well, that's about 10 years ago. So
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I'll put a link in the show notes.
It's the Guitar Hero one.
Yeah, so they can check it out.
Totally wrong and awesome.
I'd like to ask you, I guess, for like bleed purposes, like, I've heard of people, tracking with ribbon mics because you can kind of get a better bleed tone. Is that something you're a big proponent of?
I mean,
you just don't even think about it. You just let it happen.
I don't even think about it. Yeah. I mean, I've recorded a lot of bands with the drums. I mean, there was a Nashville band with the greatest name ever called Diarrhea Planet. And they were awesome, but they had 4 guitar players, drums and bass. And I set them up here in my studio. My room is not very big. It's going to be like 5 meters by 7 meters.
Okay.
All right. So it's not very big.
Not
like
big. Like a living room.
Well, it's bigger than a living room because it's 16. Let's see. It'd be 3.5 meters high. So, it's vaulted ceiling. And but I set up drums in the middle of the room, 2 half stacks on one side, 2 half stacks on the other side. And we tracked the whole record live with no headphones.
No headphones.
No headphones.
You get better feel without headphones, I feel like, from the artists.
I co-produced the last Fish record, and we did that whole record, no headphones.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, Fish was the next band I wanted to ask you about, because I feel like they're, obviously they're an amazing band. I don't know if I would have paired you with them.
Nope.
Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because, like, they're a jam band, you've got that kind of, like, roots rock kind of thing going on.
Well,
how did that happen?
I actually like 2 minute and 20-second songs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I like to get in, get out, say what you're going to say, move on.
Yeah, totally.
Well, how that came about, it's kind of a long roundabout story. I got asked to record Brandi Carlile for a recorded live video series after that record came out. And Dave Cobb is the producer. We worked together a lot, but he couldn't be there. And so he knew that I do that live recording thing really well because of Stapleton and all that. So I set her up, and we set the band up, and we had live strings. And so we just did the whole thing where everybody was close enough that even with their amps and drums, they could hear. And so we recorded this thing. Now, Brandy's manager at that point in time was a great guy named Patrick Jordan. He manages Fish. Trey and the guys in Fish wanted to try something different. They wanted to try to make a record live without trying to make a lot of studio mumbo jumbo, And so Patrick called me, and then I got a call from Trey, and we ended up talking for about 3 hours, which is kind of what happens when you kind of really hit it off with people. And Trey and I are exactly the same age. We're a couple months apart. We both graduated high school at the same time. We both loved the Pink Floyd records, same Pink Floyd records,
Yeah.
We both did all the same, early 80s, graduate in 1982 shit, And so we had a connection there. He asked me to come up to the barn and record this record called Ghosts of the Forest. It's a project called Ghosts of the Forest. It is the first sort of solo Trey thing that actually involved a Fish member. John Fishman played drums on it.
Yeah.
And so it's just John Fishman, Tony, his bass player, and Trey in the barn, which is a big room. And it was June, and the barn doesn't have air conditioning. It's in Vermont on the side of a mountain. It's beautiful, but there's no AC. So we just opened all the doors. There's big, huge barn doors. We just opened all the doors, which was cool because we had like birds and chipmunks and things kind of flying through, and kind of like it was kind of like you're just out in nature. It's beautiful, beautiful place. And we recorded this record over the course of about a week, and then we just kept kind of working on it. Him and I working on it together. I did about a week of overdubs here without him. Did a bunch of keyboards, did some vocals. Then he came back here. We played some guitars. Then we went to New York. We worked at Power Station for a week, recorded some orchestral stuff and Celeste and pianos and like pianos played like zithers, things like this, all kinds of like cool experimental stuff. And then we mixed the record here, and the fans, their fans wanted a record that sounded like them. Sort of. Now, this is not Fish, but their fans, the Trey's fans, loved this record. So they called me and wanted me to produce or co-produce this Fish record. So co-producing a Fish record is sort of like, here's the songs they want to record because these are songs that are huge fan favorites, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Fine. And then basically what they wanted me to do, the production part of it, is to say, yeah, this 17-minute long piece of work should be 7 minutes. So let me cut, and cut it down to 7 or 8 minutes or whatever. And then
that's cutting post recording, not like
afterwards.
Before.
Yeah. And sometimes, they have songs in crazy time signatures that you just have to figure out how, okay, so, like there's a song where Fishman is doing a pattern and the band is doing a pattern, and Fishman's pattern is in one time signature, the band is in another. So they only ever sort of like, if you can kind of like, they're doing this, I'm going forward, and then the band goes forward while he goes back. And then you have to kind of land where you kind of have to figure out where they cross, in the middle of this pattern.
Polyrhythms.
Yeah. All this crazy polyrhythm stuff. So, there was a couple songs that were a lot tougher than others. But we went through, we nosed things around, nudged a little bit here, nudged a little there, pushed up here, pushed down there, and then I had some ideas on some keyboards and for Paige that he basically just said, look, just let me have it for a month. So I just gave it to him for a month. He put a bunch of keyboards on it, which was cool. And then I had some ideas for strings, and they have a guy that they reached out to, and he got strings. And it was funny because I was recording all while this is going on. I'm recording Chris Stapleton. This is last January and February. And we recorded strings on a song for Chris Stapleton, this song called Cold, which is beautiful. And the next day or 2 days later, I recorded strings for Fish here. So it was like all the same players, like, oh, hey, yeah, you're in my place now. So we just spent a whole day recording strings, which is its own, what's the best word? It's its own beast. Yeah. You got to really have your shit together to do that.
You do that in your live room, the strings?
I did it in my live room, yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Nice.
It sounded amazing. So,
awesome.
I think it was 12 pieces, something like that. So it was good. Yeah, we had to like move all my drums and move all my keyboards, and we had to move a bunch of stuff. But yeah, so what producing or co-producing Fish is sort of like letting them do their thing and then making the best of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it was just the capture also. It's like just like being there and figuring out how to record them.
And the other part of Fish is their studio, the control room, there is no control. The console's in the middle of the room. So I literally had these headphones on, these focals, which are open back, just in the room on listening, as best I